The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
Time for more Walking Dead What Ifs. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Today we're answering your Walking Dead What If scenarios, or should I say scenarios?
Well, I like
how do
scenarios.
You say it? Scenarios?
I mean, that's not how I naturally say it, but if I want to have some fun, that's how I say it.
If you want to sound intelligent, right? Scenarios.
Right.
All right, so JP, what kind of scenarios do we got today?
Oh, man, we got so many good ones from so many awesome listeners.
So many beautiful listeners.
At the top of the heap, and not that we're showing favoritism just because I hit newest first, Owen, our good friend Owen Maison, or should I start from oldest? Where you want to start?
Since you got it there, man, don't inconvenience yourself. If you got it on newest, man, that's fine. We'll just run down the list.
We're starting at the very top. A mere 23 hours ago, our pal Owen says, what if you both had to recast 3 Walking Dead characters? Who would you choose and why? And what if Edwin Jenner decided not to opt out and allowed the group salvation with him in the CDC? So we got two good ones there.
Those are both really good.
Yeah, they are.
First off, who are your 3 that you would recast?
Well, we've said it a million times, man. I would love to have seen a John Hamm Negan. Not that I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
That's one of mine, so I wonder if I need to come up with another one. Let's make sure. If ours are too similar, I'll try to come up with 3 more. Before that is one of mine, so we agree on that. John Hamm as Negan would have probably been amazing.
Yeah, no kidding. And we love Jeffrey Dean.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's phenomenal. He's a hip. I consider his Negan, though, just totally different from comic Negan, but I very much enjoy him.
Yeah. Let's see. Jonathan Taylor Thomas as Carl. I think that would be great.
I mean, like, are we time traveling and getting a younger Jonathan Taylor? I mean, if we're getting 30-something-year-old?
Yeah, why not?
Come on, Dad.
He probably hadn't aged any, has he?
I can handle walkers. I'm 40.
Yeah, I'm sure he looks about the same.
I'm only 2 years younger than you, Dad.
And while we're doing it, man, why not just make what's his name? Tim Taylor as Rick.
Oh,
his name's not Tim Taylor. What's
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. Right.
I thought you were gonna say Tim Allen is Negan. I could just see him walking with the baseball bat in the lineup,
That might be an even better idea, man. Imagine that we recast, we did take it back to the 90s, like Tim Allen is Rick and Jonathan Taylor Thomas is Carl.
I want Tim Allen to be Negan. I just want to hear him going,
That might be the role for him.
Like instead of that whistle they do when they're chasing you to the woods, instead of that, you hear,
I think we might be onto something. I really do.
But Tim Allen would be a cool Rick, though. I mean, he's definitely got that lead man quality about him.
Does that mean like Al Borland would Shane?
God,
would he be boning his wife? I don't know. I could see him more as like Dale, maybe.
Yeah, he just stares at you awkwardly from a distance when he's unhappy.
I guess Wilson would be Dale, right? Like
he's got the hat,
wise older dude,
and he's the moral compass.
I guess Wilson would be Dale. God, I hate for Al to be Shane because he's got to die.
Yeah. All right, but so 3 characters. All right, so we got John Hamm as Negan. Who are 3 other characters 2 other characters you would recast, like current? Because I know I've got a few more that I definitely would.
All right. Oh man.
And keep in mind that it's not necessarily like with mine. I don't think any of mine are due to the actor's performance. This is just for the sake of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like I loved each person that are in the roles I think that I'm going to recast. It's just for the sake of this argument. Who else do I think would have played a really good part? Because, I mean, a lot of my characters are some of the best actors on set. So, I don't want to make it seem like I'm hating on them because they're all awesome.
Yeah. I would. Oh, geez, man. It's always tough because I always have trouble thinking of like modern actors. maybe the guy that I can't think of his name either. The Shikes. Throw one out there, man.
All right, number one, I would love to see Alpha played by Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
Not that Samantha Morton didn't do an amazing job, because she did. Holy shit, she was so good as Alpha. I mean, she just turned Alpha into a real life. Because in the comics, I didn't really read Alpha being that creepy. I read her being demented, but not that weird kind of like a monster in the night kind of feel she had, which I love. And Samantha Morton, gets all the praise in the world for bringing that to the screen, and it's awesome. But I kind of saw her as more of a Sarah Paulson type character, but I would love to see Sarah Paulson play Alpha. I would love to see, the Negan swap we were talking about. Who else? I definitely wouldn't. I
know it's tough, man. It's so tough.
It is. I mean, John Hamm is Negan, Sarah Paulson as Alpha.
I'd like to see Danny Trejo just play some of the governor roles.
Okay. I'd like to see Danny Trejo as the governor.
I mean, just for shits and giggles. I don't know if Andrea would have been quite as
seduced by him.
Yeah, but then again, man, Danny Trejo is a smooth mother, so who's to say?
Why are you sleeping with him, Andrea? I'm scared of him. Which might, probably had something to do with it in the show too, other than the fact that Andrea was just a moron. But I would like to see, because that's exactly who he looks like in the comics, like a skinny, less intimidating Danny Trejo.
Yep.
I'm thinking back to the comics, like who, that is tough, man. That is tough. Because, in the comics, Andrea was younger, so you could pick someone younger to play Andrea. Mm-hmm. Also, Carol looked a lot different in the comics than she does in the show. You could pick a new Carol. Trying to think of like the situations they've been in the show, though. You know what I mean? Like I try not to think of like comic Carol, because she went out like she was a lunatic. I would have liked to have seen someone. Okay, all right. I would have liked to have seen, even though he does play John Dory, and I love John Dory, I would have loved to have seen Garrett Dillahunt play Dwight.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I know that's who he went for. He went for Negan, I think. And then I think he tried to go for Dwight or something, somewhere in there. And he didn't get either one. But I guess they liked him because they put him as John Dory. But I would have liked to have seen him play Dwight. Not that Austin Amelia. I mean, I ended up really liking him by the end of the All Out War. But I would have loved to have seen, because I don't know. He was just, I don't know. So that'd be my three: John Hamm, Sarah Paulson, and Garrett Dillahunt.
That's a solid three, man. I'm just gonna stick with recasting the Home Improvement cast into the Walking Dead.
He comes out the trailer. We pissing our pants yet?
Oh man!
But instead of a baseball bat with barbed wire, can he have like a giant wrench?
Yeah, or he's like made some kind of weird, Tim the Toolman Taylor gizmo out of the baseball bat or something.
Or like he's built up like a classic car and he just runs you over, is how he...
Yeah.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh, boy. One day in my wildest dream. But part two of Owen, again, what if Edwin Jenner decided not to opt out and allowed the group salvation with him in the CDC?
I feel like they would have eventually ran out of supplies. They would. I don't know. They could have made a life there, but they'd have to find gasoline to keep the generator, which as many vehicles as they had for so long. That probably wouldn't have been a problem story-wise.
Kept it going for a while, for sure.
They would have had to have went out and found more gasoline. Show would have been a lot more boring. Just them chilling in a bunker.
Yeah.
And their only real adventures be, because I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I was going to say it's almost impenetrable, but then again, they did bust the glass with the grenade.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to post up in a major city like that.
No.
But
I really think Herschel's Farm is one of the best setups if they wouldn't have just, had all that beef with Shane and drawn out all the walkers, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that could have been a lot better. They could have fortified it more, maybe set up some barbed wire fences. Am I wrong on this? I'm wrong a lot of times, so, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. I'm cool with that. But couldn't they have probably just, cut off the lights and hid in the house and waited for because I heard from the way it was written in the story, they were just migrating, just following sounds. They followed the helicopter, then they followed the gunshot. So they would have, I could see the counter argument being, well, if you just hid in the house, they might never leave. But that's not the way they had been written. They were just marching in a direction of sound. Mm-hmm. So couldn't they have just gotten the house and cut off the lights and been quiet? I definitely would have tried that before, I would have told everybody, and I guess, it kind of happened quick, so maybe they didn't have time to think, but I would have definitely been like, all right, everybody get in the house, cut off the lights, be quiet, and me or one or two other people would have driven away from them, shot the guns a few times, and then, slowly circled our way back around to get back to the farm, just to keep them moving away from the house. I mean, I feel like that would have been a pretty solid plan. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But one of those things we will never know. Thanks for the questions, Owen. Yeah, good stuff. And moving on to Jonas, longtime listener Jonas. What if the Fear crew were the ones on Negan's lineup? Who would take the bat? Now that's interesting. Ooh, probably Daniel. I could see it being Daniel. Daniel doesn't scare easy, and that was really what made Abraham catch the bat. Was kind of Negan's, because I'm pretty sure I know Negan said that it wasn't random, the whole, any minute, but at the same time, he was also trying to convince Maggie to kill him because he didn't want to be alive anymore. So, but, I'm pretty sure they said that, no, Abraham sealed his fate when he kind of bucked up to Negan, just, all right, this one's not going to fall in line. I've got him on his knees and, dead to rights, and he's still showing, it ain't no way we're going to work. Yeah, as far as a physically intimidating presence, I guess Victor Strand would have been the biggest. No, Victor Strand would have smooth talked him. Oh, I think he totally could have talked his way out. God damn, I love the way this man talks. Yeah. Listen here, Mr. Negan. We can work together. Yeah. I'm going to kill one of y'all, but this smooth talking son of a bitch, step on up, man. I like you. You're cute. Come over here and sit down. And then, Alicia would say something, Alicia E. I mean, now that's the difference, though. What crew are we talking about? Are we talking about the current crew, or are we talking back like the Madison and Nick and Alicia and Troy? And I'd like to see the original lineup, man, just because I try not to think about the current Fear the Walking Dead any more than I have to. Yeah, no, not Victor Strand. He would smooth talk his way out of it. Please, Mr. Negan, don't hit me in the head with that bat. Yeah. Well, damn. I don't know, man. I feel like Daniel would, just because Negan was able to read who is, one of his biggest threats was in Abraham. I feel like he would see Daniel, and Daniel just has that look. Rick looked freaking terrified. Mm-hmm. Even from the second they had him, from the, just out the gate, Rick looked scared. So Negan probably read into that as weakness. Okay, he's terrified. I can take control of him. But again, Abraham was the only one that wasn't scared per se. I mean, Michonne Michonne held a pretty stone face there for a little while, but even she ended up looking scared. And I think Abraham's just kind of like, I'm down for whatever, kill me, I don't give a shit. And I feel like Daniel has that look in his eye, and he's just, we know he's a badass, and I feel like Negan would be able to read him as a badass and know that, all right, this isn't the guy to leave alive. Real recognize real, for sure. It could be June or John, though. I feel like from a writing perspective, it would totally be John. Yeah, I didn't. I know that's not the original lineup, but as far as the modern, I feel like John would definitely, if this was going to be written, we were talking more like realistic. But from a writing standpoint, I feel like it would definitely be John, because he's just a sweet guy. He's innocent. He's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? He's just, he's really like an innocent soul. He's just means no harm. He's just one of the best as far as his attitude. He doesn't double cross people. He cares about people. He helps strangers. He's a good guy, and he's a lovable guy. Him and June together kind of get on my nerves, but he's awesome, and she's also awesome, just not together.
Well, not even that I mind them together. I just get tired of it being so like, which they're trying to recreate the Glenn and Maggie dynamic with them, it feels. But I feel like John Dory would totally be the one to take the bat because it would be heartbreaking.
No, I could see that. I could totally
make you really hate, your introduction to Negan, you'd really hate him.
And I don't feel like John Dory would have been on his knees like whimpering or looking away. I feel like, he's a former cop.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he would have kept his cool. And
you do what you need, baseball man.
Yeah. All right, another good one coming up from Jonas. What if the original Fear cast evolved into the Whisperers? He goes on to say, I swear their story was going in that direction with all the subtle clues, like Nick walking with the dead and eating brains, vultures hoarding and using the walkers as a weapon, Walker and his tribe with their voodoo magic, etc.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. I see Madison as an alpha.
Yeah, that would have been a cool way to link the shows up. Totally wouldn't have seen it coming, but Jonas does make some good points, man. They were definitely dropping some whispery kind of hints.
Maybe Victor Strand would have gotten some stilts and been her beta.
Yeah, oh, man. Yeah, that would have been something.
But then it would suck because we don't get to hear that smooth voice.
Yeah, I know, yeah, beta.
He would just whisper shit. Walk. That don't sound like him. That sounds more like Rick. He would just be like, walk. Yeah, that would be really cool, but I don't know, man. That was a lot of the theory, that because we never. Correct me if I'm wrong. We never learned Alpha's real name, right?
I don't remember it.
I don't remember them saying it, so I mean, it's totally possible that Madison could be Alpha.
It would have been interesting, man. Like, say she thought, like, the way everyone thought she died, and maybe she did at the ballpark, maybe she assumed her family died there, just lost her mind, started wandering, and became the Whisperer mastermind.
But then where would she get Lydia? Did she just, like, steal her? Because that's the thing, too. Her. I mean, we know that in the comic and in the show, like, Lydia was her real child. Mm-hmm. Whereas, I mean, unless she told Alicia, you are no longer Alicia. You are Lydia. Mom, that's random.
Oh, man. But definitely would have been an interesting direction to take it in for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that it would have been. I don't know, man. I do like the idea of. I mean, like I said, with the little bit of like story writing I've done in my life, I've always loved pitting two groups of people against each other, but both their backstories, because sometimes villains don't seem like villains when you know their backstory. You know what I mean? It's like, look how many things Jax did on Sons of Anarchy that even though they were messed up, you were still pulling for him. Whereas if you were to see it from someone else's point of view, the whole story leading up to that, and you were introduced to Jax just when he did some screwed up shit, you would totally think, oh, what a douche. I hope they kill this sorry piece of crap. So, I think it would have been cool to have seen the entire journey to being Whisperers, and it definitely would have definitely made you a little bit more conflicted on who you were rooting for. I think ultimately you'd still be rooting for, the main Walking Dead peeps, but it would make it harder to want to see Alpha die, because that when Negan slits that throat, that's Madison dying,
Yeah.
When Carl gets his eye socket licked, it's Alicia doing the eye socket lick.
Yeah, that'd be a weird parallel universe to explore, but a good scenario, Jonas.
And if you're wondering about, if you don't read the comics, that's the thing from the comics. I didn't just make that up. The whole licking the eye socket thing, that was Lydia, like legitimately licked Carl's eye socket because she thought it was sexy.
Yeah, and it was in a very weird, disgusting.
I did not find it as sexy in any way.
I definitely got to chubbing a little bit, but
it doesn't take much though.
Well, that's true. Can't argue with that, but. Moving on to Claire, if you guys were thrown into the Walking Dead universe from the beginning, do you think you would survive? What communities would you want to be a part of or get trapped in?
First off, I don't know. I don't want to sound cocky, but yeah, I think I would survive. At least for a little while. I mean, I'm not saying I think I would be the ultimate survivor, but yeah, I do trust my instincts. They've served me pretty well in the past. I think that I would. But you got to think, though, it's easy to say that when we know everything now. It is really hard to think, like, erase everything you know about walkers. And you got to remember, in the Walking Dead world, zombies weren't a thing. You know, they weren't popular in culture and stuff. That's why they didn't call them zombies. So, you know, you got to imagine, you know, to really get into this question, you have to get your mind right and take away everything that you know about zombies and how the Walking Dead plays out. You know, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, because you've seen it happen.
Right.
But yeah, I think I could survive for a little while.
I'd probably get way too muffed up, like right out the gate, and it probably wouldn't end well for me. So
yeah, I think that excuse me, sorry about that. I didn't get much sleep last night. You're not boring me. I just did not get no sleep. But no, I think I would want to be a part of like a farm type community, like off the road, way away from everything. I mean, it'd be harder to fortify than like, say, a mall. I mean, a mall is super dangerous and going to be under constant attack. But if you can successfully clear it out, I mean, you can damn near make that thing impenetrable. I mean, you also leave yourself open to being surrounded and lots of other, which is why I wouldn't do it. But I mean, as far as fortifying, you could fortify a mall, you know, a big mall or something easier because you can't build a big wall around your farm.
Yeah, if done correctly, I definitely think like the first Herschel's farm would have been a great place.
You know, I've got my place, man. I've got that big house we're all going to. Shit pops off and fresh water supply and plenty of animal game. Lots of it's not visible from the road. We could probably cover up the driveway leading in. You know, like I actually have thought like, you know, because you sit around and you have these conversations with your friends, you know, so we've sat on the porch drinking beer and had hours of like what if zombie conversations. But, you know, like I remember me and a buddy were talking about like, man, we could like pull up a few like small trees and like replant them across the driveway and like add some brush and just get rid of the driveway so that from the road or even walking off the road, you don't notice a path leading you. You know, I probably would take the roof of the place and cover it in branches and stuff. You know, I mean, I would do things to mask it from a distance, but yeah, that'd be mine, man. The mountains too are a really good spot.
Yeah.
If not everybody knows about it, the mountains are a great place to live because the terrain is, I mean, it's hard for fully brained humans to navigate, much less mindless zombies that trip up over everything. I mean, it'd be damn near impossible for them to get up there to you. The main risk you run is other humans. Yeah. To which you always have the high ground, though.
Yeah, that's true.
You could set up like where a lookout tower is or something. You could have a full view of your surroundings. I mean, you could be deadly.
Yep. Head for the hills, just like they say. Another good one, man, from Claire. Get this. The Walking Dead world contained the World War Z type zombies. We're talking walking, running, jumping type zombies.
She said if it did?
Yeah, like just what if the Walking Dead world was full of the World War Z type zombies?
It should be. I say that because I feel like the Walking Dead zombie apocalypse would be the easiest to survive. I mean, they're slow as shit. They're dumb. You know, the ones that run are the real threat, man. I mean, like, you know, these, I mean, I know in the beginning they were terrifying, but just remember when Rick got abandoned by the garbage people, the scavengers outside of the sanctuary after they got shot at. And, you know, like as he's getting ready to leave or something, or as he's walking up to the tower, somewhere right around in that area, he sees like several walkers and he just pulls out a pocket knife.
Right.
And then kills them all off screen and keeps going like it's nothing. I mean, it's like I refuse to believe zombies killed that easily would overrun our military and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, man. The scariest for me were always like the 28 Days Later zombies.
Without a doubt.
Those, man, that was, I mean, World War Z, they were gruesome too, but I didn't like that movie.
I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
They just were too... I don't know. I wasn't a big fan either. No, the 28 days. The only thing wrong with the 28 days and weeks later zombies is the longevity. They eventually die.
Right.
You know, they die of starvation and.
Yeah, they're not actually the living dead. No. They're just the infected.
And you can take them out with body shots too. I mean, headshots the quickest way, but they're still essentially a person who's just lost their mind. I mean, essentially you're killing crazy people. But yeah, no, man. I think that it would be. I don't think anybody would have survived. You know, it would have changed the whole landscape. There wouldn't be no just walking through a field and walking into town and scavenging and shootouts and shit like that. I mean, it would be living underground and coming out like, yeah, it would be a much scarier landscape for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you, Claire. Love the scenarios and keep them coming. This next one is from another awesome YouTube channel. Check it out. I'm talking about the Men's Room.
Yes, check the link in the description, actually. I did a podcast with them about 2 weeks ago where we talked about The Walking Dead. It was myself and the Appalachian American and 2 other fine gentlemen, and we had a great discussion on the show. The link for that will be in the description. And we were doing I think JP and I are going to eventually have to start doing cams with ours. I think that's really the best way to grow this channel is to have cameras. So we'll probably start that here in the next week or so.
Got to throw that eye candy in.
But oh yeah, get my hair did and everything for that.
Oh, yeah.
But check that out. Links in the description, man. That was a great discussion there. Great group of guys, and go check out their channel. But anyways, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just got to throw a shout out to my boy when I have a chance.
Oh no, man! Like you said, they do a great show. Great stuff. Their what if is what if the Rick killing Dwight in the Commonwealth becomes Daryl killing Aaron because they're turning Aaron into a heel, kind of a hothead. So could he take Dwight's death?
Oh, man. I definitely thought it was going to be Daryl and Dwight. I figured Dwight was going to come back into the picture, but some people, I think we had discussed Dwight and Carol.
We've laid out a few scenarios, and that's one that definitely didn't come to mind to me, but he's right, Aaron. They are kind of making him into a butthole.
Yeah. I mean, he's just been through a lot. He's seen a lot, and he's just getting fed up, I guess, with being the reserved. Man. Dwight and Aaron, I mean, Daryl and Aaron, man, that'd be heartbreaking. I mean, Aaron's the one that saved him. I mean, Aaron's the one that, I think full credit goes to for scouting them out and bringing them back. And I mean, Jesus, how long had they been in Alexandria with no problems? And then they bring Rick and his crew in and literally the place falls apart. Yeah. All their people die. They hadn't lost many people. They blah, blah, blah. But that'd be heartbreaking, man. Who else did we say it could be? There was Daryl and Carol. We were like, that would be the most heartbreaking for Daryl to have to kill Carol.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, but I don't think that they would do that.
No, I don't think they're going to go that way with it. And like you said, he probably would never actually do that.
But there was somebody else. Yeah, I believe Daryl would totally let Carol kill them before, But who, I mean, you got to think again. And your motivations have to be changed around, man. In the comics, Rick had Carl. He still had a civilization that he wanted to bring here because he knew it was safe. And honestly, I feel like in the comics, he killed Dwight to save his people. Whereas in the show, I mean, Carol is Daryl's people. He's who she's who he wants to protect, vice versa. I just can't see either one of them taking the other one out in that manner. But man, if Daryl kills Aaron over that, man, then I'm going to go back to straight up F Daryl. Aaron's your people, man. Rick and Dwight weren't really on the best of terms then either. Because remember the whole Sherry debacle and...
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. No. Which one went first? It was Sherry that went first, right?
I think so.
I'm having trouble remembering if he killed Dwight and then Sherry attacked him because of that, and that's when she got her. It wasn't. It was when the Saviors were trying to take back over is when she attacked him, and then Rick accidentally kills her, and then later Dwight does his thing.
Yeah.
I need to go back through and read the comics again.
Yeah.
So much that happens, man.
I know, dude. It's a lot.
But who else was it? There was somebody else we thought that better fit that. And who the hell was it? I mean, we had said maybe Daryl and Dwight it could still be because Dwight could still easily cross right back over to The Walking Dead. I mean, neither him nor Morgan are doing themselves any favor by staying on Fear the Walking Dead. I imagine after a season, they're both like, hey, can you put us back on the regular show? This shit sucks. But there was somebody else. Who was it? Who else did we think about?
Man, I may have to chew on that. I can't remember. It's been a while since we explored that. That situation. But yeah,
that would be heartbreaking, dude. If we had to watch Daryl, I just don't think it would play out that way. I agree 100%, and I didn't think about it until you brought it up. They totally are having Aaron be a little bit more reckless.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know, a little bit more reckless, but I mean, they're stalking the Whisperers pretty stealthily and calmly with their wits about them. But gosh, man, I that would be heartbreaking. I'd be back to like screw Daryl.
It'd be hard to swallow, but we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure the Commonwealth will be right around the corner.
If you read the comics, let us know in the comments section, who do you think would end up in that situation? We're talking the Rick and Dwight situation with Pamela in the Commonwealth. Who do you think it would be? Which two people would? Yeah. Who would be the killer and who would be the killed?
Let us know. The next one's coming from longtime listener Corey Andros.
Hey.
What if the show started with Alexandria and all the characters there, like Aaron, Eric, Keith, Deanna, Reg, Alden, Spencer, Jesse, Olivia, Porch Dick Pete, They were our main characters. Which one would have become the fan faves? And how would we have reacted to Rick and their group when they arrived at Alexandria?
They all kind of sucked ass, except for Jess. Like her kids sucked.
Yeah.
Pete sucked. Deanna was okay. Reg was just kind of there.
I'm not going to lie. Some of these I don't even remember.
Nicholas and his whole group sucked ass. Who was Deanna's son that died? The one that was with Daryl and them, with Glenn and them, and got stuck in the Transformer. It started with an A, and I'm just drawing a blank because he was that forgettable of a character. Yeah. But no, I think the show wouldn't have made it past the first season because hardly any of those characters were interesting.
Yeah, they would have had to introduce Rick and company pretty soon. But
Nicholas had good trend, because what I'm thinking of it as, I know that one would argue, well, Justin, that's stupid because Nicholas showed some real character development, and so did Deanna. Okay, that's cool, but they only showed the character development when our characters arrived.
Right.
The way they were pre-Rick, we're gonna say BR here, before Rick. They were boring, one-dimensional, and apparently were just stuck in their ways. I mean, they were still going out beating the shit out of a zombie corpse, which, to be honest, I get Glenn's part. I kind of didn't think that was the worst idea in the world. I'm like, dude, as long as you got a control over it, whatever. But I get it. I totally understand Glenn's take on that. And also, too, you got to remember that zombie was once a living person. That's someone's corpse you're desecrating. So I get it. Desecrating, is that the right term?
I think so. I think that fits.
That meant robbing graves or... Anyways. But I think it would have sucked. They were boring, and there was nobody in there I liked other than Jess. Well, no, other than Aaron. Aaron, okay. Duh. Brain fart.
Aaron would have been the Rick.
Aaron and his boyfriend would have been the two most liked characters, I feel. I mean, I liked Aaron, and I liked his boyfriend. Jess was cool. Like Jess. Would have totally liked Jess. Her son sucked ass. Her husband sucked ass until Rick kind of talked some sense into him, or until Reg got his throat slit. Deanna kind of sucked ass. Reg just was kind of there.
Yeah.
Nicholas was a douche. So was her other son. Her son, was it Spencer? He sucked.
Yeah.
Right up to the end, he sucked. Yeah, it would have sucked. We would have liked... Aaron would have been the fan favorite. And his Eric... Eric was his boyfriend, right? Eric
sounds right.
Eric would have been another, because I liked him. He was a likable character. And Jess was likable. Those would be the three. The rest of the show would just suffer because the characters just suck.
Yeah, can't argue with that. But it's an interesting scenario.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, let's just thank our lucky stars that that's not how they started it. Got a good one from Dylan George. What if Oceanside killed Enid and Aaron when they went to convince them to join the war against Negan?
Oh, man, that is very interesting. Very good question.
Yeah, man.
Well, think about it. They wouldn't have been there to... They clearly weren't... they wouldn't have sided with Alexandria and the hilltop and everything. So remember, Tara and them were pinned down by the Saviors approaching the hilltop during the final battle, and it was Oceanside that saved the day. That wouldn't have happened. So I think Rick and company would have still won, because thanks to Eugene's sabotage, but the hilltop would have probably been wiped out.
God, that's right. I totally forgot about them swooping in.
Can you imagine the saviors, though, that are like, yeah, we did it. We took out the hilltop. And they get back and they're like, oh, shit. Yeah. Where's everybody?
Yeah.
Why is Negan bleeding? Yeah, so we would have had that. And then we wouldn't have had them going through. I don't know. We would have had Arat and Justin would have been alive a little bit longer.
Yeah,
the saviors true. That they were killing. Which, not trying to lie, man. I get the idea of reform, but Arat totally deserved it.
Yeah.
So that Justin guy was a prick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess one of the main ways, which I don't know, then would they have become an enemy of Rick in the group? I imagine they definitely would have. They just killed Aaron. And who was Aaron and Enid?
Yeah, so they definitely would have had to answer for that.
Yeah, so I mean, the hilltop would have failed, and then once everything was squared away, I think that they would have wiped Oceanside out.
Yeah, just killed them, took their resources, and went along their way.
Yep.
So thank goodness it didn't go down like that. Dylan George has another good one. What character do you wish you could have seen in Alexandria? Shane, Lori, Beth, Herschel, Andrea, T-Dog, Merle, Tyrese, Bob, any of those?
All of them.
Fancy? Yeah.
Did they name all of them?
Yeah, he did, man. Bob, I could take or leave. Lori, whatever. Definitely Merle, man. I would have loved to have seen Merle up there, like interacting with Negan, doing his thing.
I wonder how he and... Yeah, man, you're right. I would have loved to have seen how, all right, so Merle and Shane were two hotheads that didn't really back down.
Yeah.
Merle backed down from the governor a little bit, but the governor saved his life. So, I mean, I get it. The governor's he's kind of subservient to the governor. But overall, Merle wasn't really scared of anybody, and neither was Shane. So those two would have been very interesting to see how they just would have dealt with someone like Pete. I feel like with someone like Merle, though, and I mean, he was growing as a character, but do you think he would have grown enough by season 5 to be accepted into Alexandria? I mean, just coming there and be like, hot damn, sugar tits.
Yeah.
This place is nice. Where do you keep your crystal meth?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they definitely would have had to have a little conversation with Merle before getting to the gates. Like, all right, man, don't be talking all that crazy bullshit you like to talk.
Shane would have been interesting. I always ponder how Shane's character could have been. Like, I love the character of Shane. To date, one of my favorite characters on the show. I loved Shane. I think John Bernthal played him so awesome and blah, 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 blah. But I always wonder what could have been with Shane. Like, if there is a way it could have been written after that big fight, could maybe even that fight between him and Rick been done different, like where he had the chance to kill Rick but decided not to, and from there they could have came back and reached some kind of understanding. T-Dog, how could you not want to see T-Dog in Alexandria? He was just a lovable, underused character.
Yeah,
I really hated that for the actor, man, because T-Dog was a good character, and I think everyone liked, and it was heartbreaking. And that speaks a lot about the actor and the character, where it was super heartbreaking when he died, and he didn't do much. They didn't have, and that's due to the writers, didn't have his character do much in the show or have any real moments where we got to know him hardcore. We had that scene with him and Dale out by the RV, but while they were waiting on them to get back, but. T-Dog, of course, I'd love to see T-Dog in Alexandria. Lori, I don't want to see there because then she would have totally blocked Rick.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jess, assuming that her and Rick were even together at this point. Right. I mean, they were kind of on the rocks there at the end. Who else?
I think we've rounded them pretty good. Beth, what do you think about Beth being there?
I'm kind of like you with Bob and Beth. To me, are both. I could take them or leave them. Yeah. I didn't hate them by any means, but I didn't particularly love them.
No, I'm sure Herschel. We both would have enjoyed.
Oh, was he on the lineup?
He's on the.
Oh, then Herschel, without a doubt. If I had to pick from that lineup, Herschel, just because Herschel could have really, I think, helped with. Well, number one, having Herschel around would have kept Rick a little bit more. And I don't know, though. I mean, one could argue that Herschel was a hindrance on Rick because Herschel was, I mean, I loved Herschel, another one of my favorites. But at the same time, I mean, it was Rick being savage that has gotten them out of a lot of different situations. And he might not have that savageness But Herschel could have definitely probably helped to smooth over issues with the community and stuff. I mean, Herschel would probably be my pick, but I would love to see Merle or Shane too. That's tough. I'm gonna go with Herschel as my pick.
Well, speaking of Herschel, Dylan goes on to say, what if Rick and the group never found Herschel's farm and never met Herschel, Maggie, and Beth? How would their absences change the series?
Dramatically.
Yeah.
Rick probably would have been savage a lot earlier on.
Yeah.
Poor Glenn, I don't know if he would have gotten laid.
God, yeah, that would have been tragic.
Oh yeah, man, dramatically. Like, I mean, imagine, all right, so I mean, I guess in this scenario, what, they just go skip right over the farm and end up finding the prison?
Assuming they even find it, I guess they would have stumbled upon it. But.
I mean, I feel like Rick, Herschel was that voice of reason for Rick, when Rick was losing his mind and all of that. I mean, imagine if it played out the same and Lori died, but there was no Herschel there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for all we know, they would have found Woodbury before the prison, and God only knows how that would have wound up.
I mean, they could have died without.
Yeah.
Because at the point they found the farm, I'm assuming everything plays the same except for they don't find the farm. Mm-hmm. So for them not to find the farm means that Carl doesn't get shot.
Yeah.
And then Maggie doesn't lead them back to the farm and all of that. So I assume maybe in this scenario, Rick just goes after Sophia, and I don't understand why I do get it. And I know that in the heat of the moment, people make mistakes. And when you're writing a story, sometimes you have to consider that people aren't these calculated. We see everything in hindsight.
Right.
We've seen that scene, and we've had plenty of time to think about how Rick could have handled that situation better. But it's the heat of the moment. It's early on into the apocalypse. The zombies are still kind of fresh to him. I mean, I get it. He just wanted her to be safe and try to lead them away. But, I mean, realistically, why didn't you just get under there with her and just hang on for a few minutes and let the walkers pass and then take her back instead of leaving her?
That would have been a bad idea.
So let's assume that's what he does. And then I guess they just continue on up because they had just found all that water, remember? Mm-hmm. They found all that water. I guess they would have continued on up the road. And they would have eventually probably went to Fort Benning and found that was overrun.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, the sky's the limit there. It would have changed the entire scope of everything. I mean, I still think Shane and Rick were going to come to a head at some point, but it might have been much later on, or maybe all this time on the road would give them time to work things out.
Yeah, I mean, something could have happened to where Lori could have died, and then, they wouldn't have really had anything to beef over at all. So
Rick, you know what, man? So Lori's dead, and we both were having sex with Lori. We've had some problems over this. I think this is a sign that we should just start having sex now, and I won't try to kill you anymore.
Yeah, I think that would have been the best scenario for everyone.
Damn it, Shane, you make a good case.
Yeah.
Get over here.
Oh, man, some Brokeback Mountain action on the Walking Dead. I love it.
Carl would have... Dad? But no, I think it would have dramatically changed the scope of the show. I mean, I don't know if they would have made it without the farm. The farm gave them kind of the rest they needed and the time to, to just take a time out away from constantly being, on the road and dealing with walkers and stuff. So
yeah, the group definitely would have been thinned out more.
Oh, for sure. Who do you think wouldn't have made it on the road?
Oh, geez. I mean, it's easy to say like Carol because she hadn't really,
Oh, yeah, no, Carol would definitely be.
Yeah.
Sophia's got a habit of running away, so probably Sophia and Carol.
Yeah.
Or in a situation where Rick's not able to come to the rescue, Sophia would run off and Carol would just go right after her. Mm-hmm. So definitely those two. What about Dale? You think Dale could make it on the road?
I was trying to think who's like Dale probably wouldn't have made it too far. Lori again.
T-Dog probably would have. T-Dog was a survivor. I mean, he only died trying to save people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like T-Dog was a survivor. I feel like he could have made it.
Yeah.
Man, it's such a travesty when you could see that character grow.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. But that's some good stuff. He definitely got some stuff that would have changed the game in a big way.
Hell, T-Dog might still be alive.
Yeah, he might would. Oh, man. Moving on to Taylor Madden. What if they portray Sebastian's character? Now we're moving into the future, following the comics into the Commonwealth storyline. what if they portray Sebastian's character as more of a evil person / villain in the show than he is in the comics? In my opinion, Sebastian in the comics was seen as an annoying, spoiled teenager and shouldn't have been the one to take out Rick Grimes. So we're getting way into spoiler territory here.
Oh, yeah.
It will be interesting to see if he'll be more psychotic in the show or if they'll make him have the same character personality as in the comics. Also, do you guys think it will be a major a major character who Sebastian ends up killing, or maybe some throwaway character?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Sebastian in the comic, I agree 100% that he should not have been the one to take out Rick Grimes. I mean, some little, excuse my language here, some little bitch shoots him, basically shoots him in the back. Get the hell out of here, man. And I get it. It was the repercussions of his actions, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I understand all that. But Sebastian should not have been the one to take out Rick. Hell, I would have loved to have seen Negan come back after all this time and take out Rick, just because the bad blood's there. There's history. It's, so many other reasons why Negan finishing him off would have been heartbreaking, but would have made a lot more sense. But I don't know, man. I mean, I guess really Daryl's kind of taken the Rick role. I mean, to an extent. I mean, he's definitely kind of the man.
Yeah.
So if it was going to be anybody, I think it would definitely probably be Daryl, but I don't think that we'll ever see Daryl die in the show.
Yeah, I don't know that we will either.
I mean, Beth told him he'd be the last man standing. I feel like that was kind of some foreshadowing.
Yeah, but I don't want to see like Sebastian. I don't want to see him turn him into like an evil mastermind. I like that he's just a shitty kid, that just does this random horrific act and pays for it for the rest of his life. So I don't know.
That's a good point. I mean, that's the way it is in real life, sadly. A lot of times, it's not some big bad that takes someone you care about out. It's some little bitch who waits until they got their back turned. It'd be interesting to see them try to write him as more of a mastermind, but I'm kind of with JP on this one. I mean, I don't think he should have been the one to take out Rick. I really don't. It
was bittersweet for sure.
But with that said, I mean, I do like the idea of, I mean, you got to think about it. He's been raised in this world where his mom leads this giant community. I mean, he probably would be a spoiled bitch.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, she wasn't really much of a mother to him. She was so busy doing other stuff. So yeah, I mean, if they make him a mastermind, I just hope that, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like for him to be that evil, I don't know that he would be able to serve under his mom, if that makes any sense.
No, I feel you.
Might have like a Sons of Anarchy moment. So I don't know. I'm with JP on that. I hope that I hope that he's not the one to take out one of our big characters. Well, I mean, he could take out a big character just if Rick was in the show. I could see him taking out like Carol or something.
Yeah.
Carol's always tried to do the right thing, but I mean, Carol's got to come up at some point, I mean, she's definitely one of those characters I could see being shot in the back just after all this time, as many things as she's done, it finally catches up with her. But I mean, that could be said for pretty much every character. Daryl. I mean, Daryl beat Fat Joey to death when he was completely defenseless. I mean, he had a gun, but he didn't pull it. He certainly wasn't going for it. So they've all done bad things, but I don't know. If he was the evil mastermind, I mean, that would change the whole dynamic of the Commonwealth, though.
Oh, it definitely would.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I hope they stick pretty close to the comics with the Commonwealth storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
I'm not forgiving you for that one.
Oh, gosh.
All right, what's our next question?
And that was the last one.
That was it?
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, so yeah, Sebastian. I mean, if he was a mastermind, it would kind of take away, because Pamela's a villain, but Pamela's not like a straight-up villain. She's just kind of crappy. She's just a terrible leader. I mean, they go by the class system, for Christ's sakes. I mean, they're pretty much like, what were you before the apocalypse? Oh, I was a garbage man. Well, that's what you're going to be now. I would just straight up lie. What were you before the apocalypse? Oh, I was a consultant to a high-end computer company, which we don't have computers, but that means I'm smart. So, I would be best used somewhere smart. Not Not, I feel bad for the people that just were like, what? I made pastries. Okay, you make pastries forever now.
I was one of the biggest porn stars on the East Coast. I
was thinking it and you said it.
Yeah, that's definitely where my talents would be best suited. We need some adult entertainment around here to keep people in the right frame of mind.
I need to pull the muzzle off, man. Like, I could be funny if I thought something very similar to that, but I don't know why I just don't say those things and then you just straight up say them. I need to start just saying what comes to mind. I keep so many things like suppressed trying to, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Without like the internet or video or anything, I mean, if they were to have adult entertainment,
you have to watch it live.
Yeah, it'd be straight up like, oh man, sex shows, live sex shows.
I mean, I wouldn't hate on it.
No, I mean, I wouldn't outlaw that.
It'd just be weird because you probably wouldn't be watching it by yourself. You know, like when people watch porn, you're usually like in your room by yourself, doors locked.
You know,
in JP's case, you've got smooth jazz playing, candles lit, and a nice, glass of wine.
I always think back to like the 70s and 80s, when they were actually porno theaters.
Yeah.
People would go to the theater to watch porn.
It's so weird because somebody was in their car like, because they had like porno drive-up theaters too. Yeah. In the theater, it'd be weird because everybody's all sitting there pitching a tent. But, in the drive-in theater, some people were just in their car really enjoying it more than others.
I mean, freaking Pee Wee Herman got caught, rubbing one out in a theater, in a porn theater.
But it was a porn theater, right?
Yeah, it was a porn theater.
That's why I've not, like with Pee Wee Herman, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's gross, but I'm like, it's not like he was in there doing it to a bunch of kids at like a Disney movie. It was, it was an adult film.
Oh, man.
That's why I would not go see an adult film in public.
No, I don't see myself enjoying it too much either.
I just see, like, if Rick was still on the show, like him and Michonne and the kids, we're going to go see a movie tonight, guys. It's a live performance. I don't know exactly what it's about, but I was invited by this girl at whatever they called the, wherever Pamela was, whatever. But so-and-so from work invited me to this drive-in live show, so let's get the kids and go. And they pull in like, oh my God, Michonne, we have to go.
Oh man.
Carl will be like, no, Dad, we don't. But yeah, I don't know, man. That would be an interesting world to live in.
It certainly would.
But yeah, thanks for the questions. Leave some more. Keep the questions coming now, much like mail call. We were going back to the Walking Dead what ifs because what's bad is our timing was terrible. We had a ton of requests for it back in the day, and then we were like, all right, it's time to get back into it. Now I don't feel like I don't know if it's really doing that well, but as long as you have questions, we'll have answers or not
responses.
We don't have answers. We have responses, but. Just keep asking those questions, anything you think of. And if we don't address something in the way that you would like, let us know. Like, for instance, if with the Sebastian, if you want to say, like, all right, well, I didn't ask you whether or not you wanted it to be that way. Like, can you go more in depth with how you think they would play it out? Then tell us. We're happy to retread something.
Oh, absolutely.
We're all fans of the show here. So, going back and getting more detailed into something like that is perfectly fine. But anyways, make sure you check out our Patreon. And sorry if we both sound a little blah this morning. I don't think either one of us got any sleep last night. JP's, I don't know why my girlfriend decided my whole bed was her whole bed.
Oh, shucks.
And like I was in a little corner all night and I kept waking up and going back to sleep. But JP don't seem like he got much sleep either. So we apologize if we're a little blah. It's a Monday.
Yeah, not any good sleep anyway. I didn't get into that good REM zone.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I'm not talking about like REM jobs and just like the REM sleep.
I was gonna say I've been sleeping without REM jobs my entire life. If that's what you depend on for good sleep, man,
it does help. It releases that
butt juice
enzymes. Yeah, really helps you just coast right off.
But whatever gets you going, man. But yeah, check out our Patreon for more podcasts. We have exclusive podcasts twice a week. Oh my God, I'm sorry I keep yawning. I know that's rude. But But we have, it's 8 extra podcasts a month, and those are about everything from The Walking Dead to personal stuff to whatever. It's just kind of free form. We just get on there and do our thing. So feel free to check that out, and every contribution is greatly appreciated. Hell, every view is appreciated. So thank you so much for being here. We'll catch you soon. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.